then we're going to dive into all about events. So you can see there's a lot there, and I ran through this a couple of times yesterday to time it, and it took about half an hour. But with questions and everything, it's going to take longer. So some of this stuff we're going to go through quicker than you would like, but don't worry, we're coming back to some later sessions, things like segments and emails and journeys. We're going to come back more. So I'm going to show you the process. And don't worry if you don't get it all, we are coming back. So some updates from the last training session. We're going to cover permissions, naming conventions, image and file tagging. So permissions, got an update, read-only access. Spoiler alert, you should all have it. And I'm pretty sure from the chat that everybody does. People that are owners of programs on our list of programs that need to be built before we launch will get the next level of permissions, so they'll be able to create and edit. I'll send this out after, and there'll be a link to the list if you want to join. For the minute, publishing will be supported via email. Naming convention, any assets like journeys or segments that you can use or clone will start with a hashtag or £, depending on who you are. These are the ones that are approved by MOPS. Do be careful if you're using ones that don't have that, because they are not approved, and you should give extra care and attention, QA, make sure everything is doing what it does, but look for the hashtag and they're the ones that are approved. Images and files.
So what else could we find with no hashtag? How, I mean,
somebody else's who's built one.
Right.
It's possible I've built one for a campaign and you go, oh, I'm doing that same campaign, I'll just use that. In this case, we would say be extra vigilant. This is not one. The logic may have been adapted or changed, so just as a heads up.
So that's basically the templates we now have in a folder, and
yeah,
we don't have folders anymore. We have the hashtag.
Yes, they're templates. They're not in a folder called templates. They exist when you search, but they should be treated as templates.
And that helps you to create your views, right? If you want to filter out, because there will be a lot of segments, a lot of journeys, there's going to be a lot out there. This will help you to filter what you want to look at by, for instance, saying, show me only the hashtags. And even if you don't filter, the hashtags are going to be listed first in alphabetical order. So the things you should care about most is the stuff that you can use. And then, of course, you filter on the stuff you created. They will not have a hashtag. That's whatever you needed for your program.
Perfect. All good, everyone? Silence is golden. So images and files. Also, can everyone see this spoken word thing? Do I need to get rid of this? Apparently not. Images and files. So changes in short, you no longer need to stick to a naming convention for uploading images or files, which is fantastic. Instead, we're using tags. So tags are going to be incredibly important that you apply them, not only for your own peace of mind and trying to find these things later, but also so we can ensure that everything looks good and delete any ones that aren't needed, repetitions. Tagging is going to be super, super important. Again, we have approved tags for you, which all have a hash. So feel free to use those, but you can apply as many custom tags as you wish. Questions? Anybody? Awesome. I can't actually see the chat. So if anyone's posting in chat, I'm sorry.
Let me check the chat.
Thank you.
All good.
Perfect. Okay, so all about events. Right. Now, first thing to remember is that there are going to be two options when it comes to events. So we're going to have local events. These are ones that you control, that you understand, that you want to set up. And then we're going to have our global events. These are things like World Tour or Formula One events, things like that. Global events are obviously going to have a specific form design or a specific email design, it's going to be branded for that unique event. So the global events will be created, and guess what they're marked with? A hashtag. Okay, so hashtag, we know it means it's been curated, it's approved, it's good to go. When you're creating local events, you're creating them from scratch using some of the templates, which may also have hashes. All right. Good news. We are changing the statuses that are available for the events. So the big one here is sales ready, which only used to be available on virtual conference. Trade show, apologies, thank you. And is now going to be available for everything. I'm sure there's a big love heart from everyone. I don't know why this looks like the Netherlands. It could just be a coincidence, but you can now put sales ready on everything, and all the other statuses that are available.
On all the event channels, not everything, but yeah, all the event channels will have sales ready.
Yes, thank you. Carolyn?
Do we still keep the success? So some statuses are successes and some are not?
What a great question. I believe so, but I have not confirmed that. I don't think it works in the same way.
There's no such thing as success in CIJ.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. So basically, a member has the same value as a no-show or an attendee.
There is no value, so yes, if that makes sense, because there's no attribute associated to it, unlike Marketo, where it's like no-show is like has no value and then success has a value. None of this does, but we'll be using these statuses in an equivalent way, so we can say follow up with people who have become sales ready and treat them differently to people who are no-shows. Does that sort of make sense?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Awesome.
Can I just clarify, when somebody has attended the event versus them being sales ready, what's the difference? Is it, I mean, could they be sales ready if they'd registered for the event and they're categorized as quite a senior person, but they never showed up? Just trying to work out what the difference is.
In my mind, and please keep me on track, everyone, because you guys have as much probably more knowledge than I do. This would be somewhere they have done something that definitely indicates that they are willing or about to be in the buying cycle. So it could be a conversation with an SDR where they say, we've got a project coming up, or it could be, as we've decided that as you go through a nurture campaign, it's not on there, but you've achieved enough actions that it seems justifiable that you are ready to buy, and these are they're almost like hot leads.
Yeah. And in the Tiger team, we have a Tiger team in Europe with European representatives. That is on the topic. So we mentioned it to them there that there is a new program status, but the process behind it, we still need to get a European recommended process, consistent process on what you can and should do. So stay tuned.
Thank you both.
No worries. Anyone else? Beautiful. Okay, so event components in CIJ. These are the things that we are going to need to build in order to do a end-to-end event program. So we're going to build the event program itself. We're going to give it an event form. We're going to create our event emails. We're going to create our segment, which is equivalent to our audience. We're going to do our logic, which is our journey, and then we're going to do a quick dip into reporting. Before you start this, and you don't have to, this is how my brain works. I like to get organized about what we're going to do. Prepare your naming, and it will also help you check off your steps along the way. So it follows a very similar naming convention as we've seen. We've got the year, the quarter, BU, country, TE, because we've updated it, and then the name. And then we're calling out, it's the form. The segment we don't call out, we'll come to that in a bit. Invite email, confirmation email, send invite journey, etc., etc. So creating a local event. So creating a new event program involves doing jumping over to a different view. So I'm going to go to, I hope this works. Here we are. So this is CIJ when we land. And just to clarify, because I think a couple of people were clicking on this part, trying to change, it's here that you would go between Sales Hub and CIJ. At the bottom here, we have real-time journeys, and then we have our event planning. And it's here that we create a new event. There has, in the views, already been created a view called My Active Events that you should all have, which can filter this neatly down to the ones you're creating. So we're going to create our new event. We've got our event name, which I'm going to give you a caveat, and it is in the slides. So at the minute, we're creating a new field called campaign name. And the reason is this event name here ends up populating into our URL. So for that, we would want the event name to be something we're happy to show customers, so that World Tour London. But the campaign name would follow our campaign naming, okay? So in here, we're going to update a few things. We're going to give it our name, our event type. We can add an event image, our start dates, and then we'll dip into some of the other ones. So this should all be fine. I am going to take my, hello.
Sorry, I just raise my hand and then say what? Quick question. I am looking at my dashboard at the moment and I'm unable to see on the left-hand side the tab for events or anything that drops down.
This right at the bottom. So you should see your real-time journeys. Can you see? And then we've got event planning, settings, training. Do you see that?
So, just to jump in, Mark, I had the same. But actually, if you go, Hannah, if you're on your Get Started page, there's a bit that says Explore Other Areas. And then it's got event planning and you can go switch to this area. And then I was able to get that. I think maybe we've got a different layout than Mark. I don't know if that's a personalization or if it's just because maybe Mark and Britt, you've got different access, but mine also does look very different.
Okay.
It sounds similar, like I've got a similar view than that Hannah has.
There we are. Knowledge is power. So yeah, if you can't find it here, I've found that the easiest way to get to the homepage is if we open this and click on the app again and we come straight back in. And this is the bit Tracy was just saying, event planning, switch to this area. Now we're in event planning.
Oh, I found it. Yeah, thank you both.
No worries. Thank you, Trace. So yeah, here we are. We're going to give it our name. We're going to select the type, and caveat, these will change. And also what will happen is, depending on what you select, the view is going to update. These are all exciting features coming soon. So turn micro event. We can choose to upload an image. Add files. I do not. There we are.
What is the image? Is it just internal image? Is it the landing page image? What's the image?
The image is going to, so good question. It will be, if we're using a standalone form, it will be the header for the form, like we would on a land. So remember, these forms are kind of simplified landing pages, but we'll get to that in 2 seconds and you'll see what I mean, if that's all right.
Always.
Great, thank you. So we've added our file. We don't care about the name of the file, but what we do care about, and they're currently exclamation marks, they should be hashes, but shh, no one saw that, is it's going to be a landing page banner. It is for an event. It is called Open Bar. is in the UK. So you can start adding as many as you want, and obviously take as many of these as you want. We're then going to upload. It's going to work. There we go. We see like a preview of it here. We now have things like, do we want to enable a wait list? Is there a max capacity? When is it? So we'll say it is next Friday. What's a good time for an open bar? 9 a.m. Yeah, beautiful. So 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. And over here in additional information, we're going to select our audience type. So whether it's customers, partners, etc., etc. Here we can add our description. And then here we can design our calendar content. So we can either build it out here using some of the fancier tools. We can highlight, we can put in tables, can do whatever you want. And then we have a backup here of text only. Once we're happy with that, we can then create our form. And so you're going to see a base form that loads in. But what we want to do is to create a new form. And here we have a decision to make. Can I get back to my slides? So should it be a standalone or an embed form? The difference is standalone has Tealium tracking. It's where we just want to direct people straight to our form. Embed, Path Factory, website, gated assets, things like that. So we have templates available for both. We have an embed form or we have a standalone form. In this case, we're going to select our standalone form.
And you will have templates, one for each language. So you would look for your language and if you want to embed the form or create a standalone one.
Thank you, Bear. Hang on, because I'm racing ahead and I'm not doing the slides, but I think it's if everyone's happy, we'll see it in action. Okay. So this is our form. We can see here it's given it a name, but we would want to update that to be our relevant name. And I would always say make naming it your first step, because I found myself not naming it and then you can't find it later. Here we've got, you'll see kind of these conditional statements quite a lot in and around CIJ. So we're saying if the event image is URL is not empty, display it, else do nothing. These are our tokens. In this sandbox environment, they don't pull through, but not a problem. All our required fields, don't worry, these are all our hidden fields to catch things like UTM, so don't worry about those. You can see them at this point, but they're hidden, so no one else will. We can, if we want to, pull in additional fields that we might want to capture, but the main one, I think, is going to be
mapped.
There you go.
Yeah, the unmapped field, right?
Yeah, the main thing we'd want to do is bring in, like we would, custom questions. So in that case, we're going to add in a layout section wherever we want it to be. It can be 1 column, 2 column, 3 columns, whatever you wish. And then we are going to add an unmapped field. So this can be option set, radio buttons, all the good stuff that we're used to. Drop it in. Here we can see where it saves it to. We don't worry about this. The type of thing it is a checkbox. Can set a default value. And then come in and we can change the value here. One thing I would recommend is double click in and start typing and then delete the old text. Otherwise it can go a bit wild with the formatting. So delete what you don't need. Now we have a checkbox. we should have everything we need. So we're then going to save. There we are. We can now preview it, and we get the options to preview it from different mobile devices, different aspect ratios, make sure everything looks nice. And when we're happy, we can publish. Claudia, I see your hand up.
Yes, are there, or will you provide like the requirements or restrictions like image size, the maximum, how's the field called, event description, or how it's called, like 150 characters or whatever? Are there any restrictions, and will you share these?
Good question. So a lot of these are pre-mapped. You don't need to worry about it. Say, for example, you were just, hang on, give me 1 second. Here I've published, and it's saying your page is created, but it's not available yet because our event isn't available yet. So that's why you don't see a code here. But to go back to your question, here, it's totally up to you. There's different sorts of fields that we can map. So we can have long text, short text. When we're doing unmapped fields, it's just dumping the data. So whatever makes most sense for you. If someone's going to be writing a long chunk, but I'm pretty sure we can even control it. No, we can't. If it's an open field, we would just let it. People can put in as much or as little as they require.
And the images, I mean,
images.
The images were really, I mean, for good reasons. We had sizes we had to stick to, and
yep, that would be the same. We just need to give it to you.
Yep, and you can always sort of. Where are we? I'm looking for my layout sections. So we uploaded our image, and then we can, if we want to, while we're doing this, we can just sanity check ourselves and drop in our image. There is one thing, there is by default always a bit of padding, and that is under this spacing. So if we wanted to get this all the way to the maximum width, then you just need to remove this annoyingly at each level. So we take off each one in turn until it ends up being maximum width. Makes sense? Or we can put it even smaller if we put it into, one of these double columns and add the image. It will just adjust to fit the space available. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll delete this and this. And this and this. Okay, so we've saved, we've published. So for the minute, I'm sure the beady-eyed ones have spotted that there's some alerts. This is something we're fixing as we speak. So don't worry, it'll be fine. What could go wrong? Here we are. We've now got a preview of our form. We filled in all our information that we need. So now we're quite able to push this live, and pushing it live, publishing it, this is what's going to generate our event URL. And that event URL is the URL to that form that we've just created. And here we are. Now we have our link. If we lose that, don't worry, it's still here. But what you should see is here we have that name. So that's what I mean by it appears. Let me jump back.
And this is something which will not go away. So it will be always
100%. It's permanently set in place. So a couple of do's and don'ts. You can freely add new unmapped fields to the form. You can change colors and fonts so long as they're within our brand guidelines. And I think fonts certainly pull through automatically. You can select it from drop downs. You can add images and text. Settings, you can change your submission messages. So thank you for submitting, etc., etc. If you click into the settings tab on the far right and come to submissions, that's where you can see it. Don'ts. Please don't remove required fields. Do not add any other fields that except the unmapped ones without checking with Emo first. There is the option to activate capture options. Please don't. Do not forget to, whatever in here, settings, do not change the pre-fill, the web traffic, the audience, the consent settings. Lastly, don't forget to save, because I've done that and it sucks. And if you want to do anything a bit fancier with kind of HTML, feel free to reach out to us. So now that we've got our event, we need some emails.
Mark, can I just ask a question in regards to the URL?
Yes.
So once we save, we can't edit the URL?
Honestly, you can't. Apart from the campaign name, sorry, the event name, campaign is the new one that's coming. Apart from the event name being pushed into the URL, we have no influence over it. We cannot do the custom URLs that we're used to having in Marketo.
Yeah, that's not ideal for many reasons. Is Bitly or other URL cutting programs something we could or should use so it looks better, shorter, whatever?
Great question. I don't know. I've not seen anything official about it, but that's actually a really good point. Don't know. Thank you. We'll have a conversation about that. I mean, downside, obviously, Bitly has costs.
Yeah, but on the other side, it does not look professional if we share a link invite to somebody that's like half a page in the email, right? So we need something that looks better and more professional because it's not professional.
Again, Britt and I were discussing this not so long ago, and I was saying, does anyone even look at the URL? And then she went, yes, they do. Yes. It's like, oh, okay, cool. All right, it's just me that's super ignorant. So yeah. That's a super good point, actually. So thank you.
Yeah, cool. And it's another good point. We need to test what happens if you change the event name. Does it change the URL? That would really be bad because, whoops, if you promoted whatever the URL was before. So we need to check that, test that. We don't know. There's a few questions. So yes, on the form, you will see if there's a field that's mandatory, they have the red star, the way, sorry, there are questions on the chat. The way they are on the form. And yeah, you can add any unmapped question like delivery address, as long as an unmapped question and field on your form, ask whatever you want. Remember, these unmapped fields are just for your event. So that's cool. Whatever you add is additional data that you store for this event only.
Thanks, Brett. Any others?
Nope, that was it in terms of questions.
Awesome. So now we are going to create our event emails. We're going to do an invite and a confirmation. So to do this, we're going to come back from the event planning module that we're in back into real-time journeys. And then we're going to select channels, emails, and we're going to use obviously our custom template. So let's do that. First thing to check, let's make sure I saved. And then we're coming back. So here we are, we're back in real-time modules and we're back into emails. Here, I would recommend creating your own view. just so you can find things. I've just been using the created by and then giving it my name. So we are going to create a new email. We're going to use custom templates. Default is this view. If you find that breaks your brain a bit like me, you can change to a list view up here. And then we can find our email template, Europe dynamic footer. This is going to load in. Again, I mentioned these conditional statements. So if Belgium, if DACH, these are already set up. So you won't have to change anything. We just leave this as is. And depending on the country of the contact, they will receive the right footer. One of the first things we're going to do is obviously give it a subject line, give it some preview text, and then we want to select our brand profile. So in our case, Europe or UK, whatever that may be. So we set this. We can then really easily, this is actually, I love how easy this is. I'm just straight back into the library. I don't have to copy and paste links and paste and do this and do that. I can add it. I can link it to somewhere, even if that would be like an asset. I can come over to my content blocks. These are all pre-designed. Grab whatever I need, throw it in. Should all be used to that. Same CTA, I just add my URL, change my button text, all the usual stuff that we're used to.
When it comes to the sender information, the Tiger team has provided us a list with senders that we need to have available for Europe. So you can't type it in yourself. We need to pre-build them. But the Tiger team has provided your usual suspects of what sender email details you have today. So all you should need to do is just look it up and find it. And if it's not there, you need to let us know and submit a ticket.
Exactly. Say we're happy with our email. Don't know if this is really professional. Everything I'm saying is to go drinking, but I blame Tracy. Not for any reason, just because. Now, there is personalization options. Obviously, we might want to add in hi, first name, for example. We can do this with these personalization options. No, sorry, here, personalization options. And we can find first name, click, and we insert a tag straight away. It styles these tags differently from everything else. It's just to draw attention to it. Hannah?
A question on the first name field.
Yes.
In Marketo at the moment, I know that there are a lot of missing fields for the name, and so we've been reading it. Is that going to be resolved with Dynamics or this platform, or are we better off just saying hi there? Because, you know, when it doesn't have anything there, is there an option to say hi there or hi name? Because it's just, there's so many first names that are missing in the data, in the UK anyway, from what we've seen.
Yes. And we could use inline conditions for that. So you could give it like these if statements. So we could say if first name isn't blank, use first name, else use there. We'll come into like how we can get more creative with these later, but in theory, we would treat it that way with these conditional statements.
Just sorry, can I just jump in on that one? Because you mentioned there, Hannah, Marketo, Brett, keep me honest, but if you've already got a contact record in our CRM, that's kind of the what's the word? That's where Marketo will get that information from, right? So if it's in Dynamics and their name is Bob, but their actual name is Mary, that's a CRM problem, not a Marketo problem.
Yeah, that's what I was
So thinking. Therefore, if you consider that, doesn't, in my opinion, won't change. I think there's always going to be a potential challenge, which, as Mark says, we're going to have to look at workarounds. Personally, I don't use first names in any emails anymore because I don't trust.
Exactly. I mean, we always been recommending, so this is more of a process thing. If you send out a batch email to a huge audience, don't use first name, because even if there's a value, it probably is no longer there, or worse, or ... or admin or whatever. There are some bad ones. Rather use it for fulfillment emails. So once people fill out the form and we're saying, thank you for registering, Britt, we know they just filled out the form. We know that had to fill out the first name. So chances are, if they don't put in their own name as bad, you can use it. Just quickly, Mark, if you double click on the first name, you can actually determine the default value there. So you can say hi, and if the value is not there, dear customer or Tracy.
Yeah, there you are. So you can have that as hi there.
Yeah, I assume the data, it all comes from the same place, but it's good to know that we've got those provisions in here where we're not going to necessarily, we can get over that challenge of where there are blank names.
Yeah,
thank you.
Another thing, Germany has been using this a lot, and that is something that we call a salutation. That one is even more fancy. It's kind of what Mark was saying, but in a script. We're trying to do the same thing again in CIJ, where the script is a bit more intelligent, saying, hey, if the first name is not empty, then say, good day, Mr. Whatever. We don't say Mr. Good day, Brit. However, if the value, the first name contains dots, stars, admin, all these single letters, whatever we see, that script is clever enough to then say, don't mention the name, just say good day. So keep an eye on that one. We have not been able to get to that fancy level of implementation in CIJ yet, but salutation is somewhere on the list. Once it's there, come back and ask us. You may want to use it for your region BU as well.
Exactly. All good. Any other questions?
There's a question from Tracy. Do you want to talk about, right now our default template is black. Do you want to talk about if you want to make maybe just a white background, for instance, how and where you can make the overall theme?
Yes. So
and the content blocks too, and what the content blocks are currently black, but does it matter? Yeah, if you want to talk to it.
Everything, yeah. So everything is being done with the brand aesthetic of black email, white text. So that is going to be universal across pretty much everything. You can change it as long as it adheres to brand guidelines, etc., etc., etc. By clicking into each block, we've got a section where we can change the colors. So you can do these things, but by default, everything is coming black with white text. We may do, after phase one, a second set, which is white. But obviously, if we change the background, some of the text is going to disappear, or some of the images, like these brand ones, are going to disappear. So maybe you have to strike a balance. If you're dead against black bodies, black email backgrounds, then maybe you have to strike a balance because some of the stuff is sort of predefined. Is that right, Trace? I mean, I know the answer, no, but yes.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. I just wanted to make sure that there was, I guess, an option.
Yes, you can still come in, you can still customize.
Yeah.
It's actually a lot easier than trying to do some of this stuff in Marketo. Like, once you start clicking around, you'll find like so much of this stuff is so much nicer, like alignment, spacing. Like we can do like rounded corners or nice little touches on things that we wouldn't previously have done.
As long as it meets brand guidelines, as you say, right?
Exactly. And that's why the content blocks are built.
Perfect.
So
thank you.
So having told you, the first thing you should always do is add your name of your file I totally forgot to add the name of my file. So let's make sure we do that. And then let's just quickly review what we've got here. So event emails, name the email, select the sender, update subjects and pre-header, use the contact box to add sections, add images and text within the Bragg guidelines. Don't change the email settings. These are the settings that are down here at the bottom that we don't want to change. Here's an example. Obviously, we would always want to preview and test. And so what we can do, similarly as before, we can do it. I don't know why this is showing up. I think it's because it's in Sandbox. It disappears once it's saved. But we can also send a test, same way as we normally would send a proof to ourselves or to the marketers we're working with. Yes, Caroline.
In Marketo, we can't share the test emails as tokens are all messed up. So we need to send sample emails to see everything correctly, right? Or download HTMLs. Are we kind of restricted here? So if I do send a test to me, the tracking and everything that's going on the back end, that's fine? Or how do we tackle this?
I believe when you send test, we did this earlier, didn't we, Britt, to get it to appear as a person. So let's do a quick check here because it's flagged the fact that I haven't set a compliance profile and I haven't set a purpose. So for that,
maybe just take another email or something.
Yeah. Why is this not even letting me edit this? It used to. Any idea? That's weird. I am in design.
Because you're demoing. Come on.
Yeah, I know. Of course, of course. But we would know the main thing here is like purpose, where we have these operational or transactional. Sorry, what are they called? It is transactional,
transactional and commercial and transactional. So again, whatever the settings don't touch, it's very important that if it says, whatever template we will have for you, we will tell you if it's a commercial or transactional email. What's the difference? Fulfillment emails, operational emails, like today when you have a response to someone signing up for a webinar, are called transactional emails. And if you want to send a batch email, so an invite or something, that's an official standard email in Marketo, which is a commercial email in CIJ.
I was just clicking around seeing if I could fix this. If it suddenly becomes available, I can't. For all intents and purposes, because we're running out of time and we've still got to do segments and journeys, we're going to assume that this email is now done. So the next thing we're going to want to do is our segment. So that's going to be our audience segment who we're going to send this to. Segments, you will need to create a segment. As I said, this is the only one that looks different from all of our other, let me find it, all of our other naming. And the reason for that is, first of all, we're going to call out our audience types, so CU customers, PR prospects, etc. And we can stack these on top of each other. So customer prospects, the UK, obviously, launching the name of our event, and then a date. And the date is important because the date, which is month, year, is if you don't put in a date for it to be deleted, then after 3 months, that segment will be deleted. So if you're using segments for long periods of time and you need to keep them, put the date of when whatever project you're working on is finished. As always, we've got segments that are available for you to reference in your segment. So these would be similar to the segments we use in Marketo, BU, country, customer size, type of customer, those sorts of things. So I am going to take the name because
Mark, sorry, I have a question because
Sure.
I'm not sure to catch why you make a distinction between a partner and MSP. Could you please explain me what difference you want to put in these two different names? Because some MSP are partners, and you know, so.
But not all partners are MSP, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But,
so that simple, definite, like that's the difference, right? If they are MSP, then fine. Otherwise, they're partner, right? It's just so we can differentiate the two later, if needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I know it's like a bit of a,
no, that's because in France,
answer.
you know, for communication, I'm not sure we will make the difference between partners and MSP.
Okay.
But that's local. Okay, thank you.
Oh, no worries. So we will come back. We are in our segments, and we are going to create a new segment. First thing we do is we give it a name. Contact. It does offer you this like query assist, like Copilot to build your audience. There's no need to do that because for the most part, we have already created segments for you to use. Feel free to have a play around. I just found the results were not ideal. So here we are. We now have our view. We're up here and we've got segments here. So these are our beautifully pre-prepared, hashtagged segments. We can stack as many as we want. So let's find all the people in Europe who speak Finnish. And as you could see there, when I added it in, it gave me either the option to, where are we? I'm trying to find size. So as you add, you can either replace the one you've highlighted or add as a new group. And here we can say and or not. So we could say all the people in Europe and also speak Finnish, but are not size enterprise.
Yeah, sorry, the global, we don't use only the hashtag. So in this case, it would be the hashtag EU Nordics. And then maybe the country Nord if we want Finland only.
That's fine. We just take it away.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have to save this. And I've intentionally put this one in because it's not, the segment hasn't, well, as of last night, it hadn't sunk, but there's a cool thing that, I think it's cool because I'm a sad nerd. But what I found was we've saved, and if we go ready to use, I think it's going to tell us that there's a problem. So yeah, publishing failed. And you think, that's really useful. I have no idea why it failed. What you can do is drill into each of these and it will pop up straight in front of you. This one is ready to use. This one's still in draft. So I know now what the problem is. I haven't had to jump off digging through campaigns or drilling through folders. Everything is nice and neat and there in front of us. So I'm going to get rid of these. And actually, I've decided I'm going to go contact email address. In this case, I'm just going to say Mark Standalone. I can't spell Tracy's name, but I would put other names in there as well. Also, I have spelt my own email address wrong. How are we doing for time? Okay, we've got 8 minutes. 8 more minutes and we've still got to do journeys. Okay. So we now got this ready. We can make it ready to use. Okay. And it is ready to use. Lovely. So just to recap, we've done our, Claudia, yep.
Yes, I sometimes have rather complex distribution lists with many brackets and and or and so on. So is this, I kind of heard that it's seems to be rather simple here.
Yeah.
I mean, the offering is simple, let's say, or
yeah. So in Marketo, where you kind of have to think a bit abstractly, and you're like 1 and or 2 and 3 or 4 and this and that. So this is, for my brain, you just follow the chain down. So you say this and this or this, and you can even group things together. So like we put in our brackets, we just create a group and we add a new bit into the group.
Okay.
So in terms of like defining those, it's much easier on the brain.
Yeah. And I think there will be a separate session on segments, because we knew this one can take up way more than what today's time slot can allow.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So creating a journey. Here we're going to come to our journeys tabs. We have pre-built journeys, and there'll be more. Select obviously the one that is appropriate. Pardon me. We'll come back to this in 2 seconds. So we're going to come to our journey. We again are going to create a new journey. We're going to pick our template. So form field triggers journey trigger. So we're going to select that. In this case, we are going to take this. Remember, do your name first. Drinks. Sign up journey. Just leave it at that for the minute because we're just testing. Here, we've got our trigger. So what is going to trigger it is going to be a marketing event registration. Looks super weird. Here we are. We can get rid of this. Most recent one is at the top. Thank God. Makes our lives much, much easier. So we can trigger that. We're going to set the time up to run for the duration of whatever event it is that we're doing. So after the event, doesn't matter if you fill in a form, journey's down, you won't come through. And then we're going to tell it we want to send an email. So this would be, I don't know why you're doing that, behave. Again, email at the top. This is our launch email. We will save. And then we'll publish. And then what we should get is, this is going to be the moment of truth where it all breaks. Oh, one error in journey. What is the error? A message marked as draft cannot be sent. Okay, great. So now I know I have to come back and check my email. My emails. It's marked as draft. Mark is ready to send. This was the issue with the compliance profile. Let's find one. You won't have these problems. There'll be no problems when you're here. It'll be fantastic. Let's pick a different one then for the sake of this. I haven't done my view for this yet. So also, I don't know if I saved. Created by, oh my word. There we go. Let's save this. Hopefully that doesn't have any issues. Publish. It does. All right. Essentially, this won't happen. It's probably because we're in the sandbox. Everything will be fine. Last little bit just to highlight is coming into the analytics. So you'll find me rushing because I know we're running out of time. Here in the analytics, this is also super cool. We're all used to Power BI. All of this is generated in Power BI report. It gives you beautiful stats. We can drill into our journey names. We can find out the status, who's gone far, through each one. We can see emails, engagement rates, completed whole journeys. We can also, in each journey, let me find one that's live. Not that one. We can drill in. We can see people as they progress, which is really good in case we've made any mistakes and we want to spot bottlenecks. But we can also find out the flow details, how many people have come in, how many have been processed. And we can also, back in our events view, see registrations, see how they've come in, and we can click into each user and see all of the information that they've submitted. We can generate QR codes, but we'll come to that another time. We can see the forms they've submitted and all the information. Caroline.
Can we share this externally? So I want to share a list or a link to all registered people with my entire Nordic team. Does this allow us to do that? Because today we can't.
Yes, we can. Via Power BI, you can share it. They can
the
see it in
sync
Power
issue.
BI.
It's a sync issue and we can't do that. Sorry?
Can you share a Power BI view to an external?
It doesn't matter if it's external or not. It's internal I'm interested in.
Oh,
today
we
can't. Yeah.
You can share the Power BI view in that and pass it over.
But there's a sync issue. That's the thing that we have today. There's like a 24-hour or 48-hour issue, and I don't want that. Yeah. Okay. So going forward,
back and forth. It should be good and much quicker, and you won't have to wait a day to be able to share this information. Like think more minutes. So we are bang on time. I'm sorry. I know that was super packed, but any quick questions or any thoughts, feelings, etc., etc.
I'm overwhelmed.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that point. I totally understand. Like I said, we've gone through everything really fast, and then we're going to come back and we're going to go through each thing in a lot more depth. This is literally, last time we did high level, the platform, this is high level whole process, and then we're going to start going in slowly, and this is why we have the open bar on Fridays to come and start playing with this stuff.
But I would suspect that when we start creating the programs ourselves, you will be hand-holding us in the beginning, right?
No, we just push you off and run. Yeah, of course we will. We're always going to be here. We're here to support.
Okay, I am just completely. I think I'm going to take like 1 hour and cry.
Do you know what?
But seriously, this is simpler. This is a good thing. It's new, but it's simpler for you guys. So if you thought Marketo was overwhelming, at least this one is easier.
And I swear to you, I felt exactly the same before getting ready for this training. I thought everything. The minute I sat down, an hour and a half, I feel like I could run with this now. And it feels like a lot because we're kind of moving around a bit. But once you get it, it's a dream.
Okay.
Trace?
Hi. Just to confirm, we still just have view-only access, right?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, okay. So we can't go in and sort of play around or anything yet?
You can't because you're in the production environment at the minute. So we want to sort of go through a bit more. Because I think that's
when it's really going to sink 100%. In, certainly for me, and I imagine others as well, just from looking at your templates. I was like, this honestly, Carmen, this looks so much easier than Marketo. So but I think it's probably not until people kind of get in and start playing around that they'll maybe come to realize that. So
100%.
I have hope for us all, especially under Mark and Britt's guidance, that everything will be magical and fine.
Love that. So Thank you.
And if it's not, blame Ben.
Yeah, Gary Verster. As we all know, everything is and always will be Gary Verster's fault. I'm going to stop the recording just at that point. Thank you all